Hey everyone, how are you doing? This is SPSM Chat 3.0, and I am Rudy Caceres. This is crazy. I hope this works. First and foremost, if you can see me on Twitter, if we're streaming on the SPSM Chat Twitter account, please let me know. There might be like 10-15 second delay. Let me check right now on the Twitter. This is our
I'm
first
seeing you,
time.
Rudy. We're looking good.
Are we looking good? We're doing
Yeah,
this.
delayed, but looking good.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Okay, we're doing this. Let me just. Okay, so hey everyone, this is SPSM Chat 3.0, and this is the beginning of a new era because this is an all new team. Okay, and if you're watching this live, please, please, please show us some love. I'm going to try to bounce back between Twitter and Periscope. And the main thing that you're going to get out of this tonight's show, SPS7 chat, hashtag SPSM, please use that on all of your tweets. And I mean all of them. Hashtag SPSM, hashtag SPSM. You're going to meet the new team. Not only me, I'm Rudy Caceres, at Rudy Caceres on Twitter and Instagram, if you want to follow me there. You're going to meet the new co-host of SPSM 3.0. And the crazy thing about this is going to be the only time that you see all three of us, or all five of us, at the same time on the same episode. Because if I have even more than four people on the stream at the same time, my supposed MacBook Pro is going to melt. So the way it's going to work in future episodes, people are giving us a lot of hearts. The way it's going to work in future episodes is that it's going to be me and it's going to be two other team members. So any combination of Marie, Joelle, Hudson, Danielle, and a guest. So we already have a guest next week. Chrissy Hodges will be talking about OCD and suicide. Without further ado, I'm going to bring on my first co-host, and we're just kind of go from left to right on my screen, and then you're going to tell everyone who you are. So let's start this. And we're going to try not to break my computer or break Twitter in the process. So, hey, Danielle Glick, I want you to tell the people, the SPSM Chat universe, who is Danielle Glick?
That's something I want to know myself. I am a child and family therapist on the East Coast. I'm not going to disclose what town I'm in or what state I'm in, just due to HIPAA and all that stuff. So I know, Rudy, you were saying people can find you on Instagram, but my social media is private, or as private as it can be, because I am a therapist. I've been very active in mental health and suicide prevention advocacy since about 2013. In 2014, my boyfriend passed away from suicide, and I am an attempt survivor myself. And that is why I'm here with these beautiful faces that are on my screen, because I want to be part of this conversation. And I think that I have some interesting things to offer, hopefully. So that's all I got for you right now.
Okay, let's move forward. Tell the whole world, the whole SPSM Chat universe, who is Hudson Harris?
Hello, everyone. I'm Hudson Harris. You can find me online at Mental Strategy on Twitter and Instagram. I am a mental health strategist. I work to help organizations and governments build better mental health systems using evidence-based practices and technology. Very excited to be a part of this. Actually, I don't know if I could be any more excited. I really can't wait to see how this all goes and what the season has to hold.
Yeah, and you know the fun thing about this is that I was like really, really nervous to do the Periscope and like directly live stream to Twitter because I'd never done it before. Although I thought it was for the best because now people don't have to switch between YouTube and Twitter. But what I found out was August 1st, YouTube's Hangouts on Air, what the SPSM Chat old crews used to use to live stream, was sunsetted. So we couldn't have even used it anyway, and I have no idea what the next team in the future will end up using. Hopefully something will be invented that's even better. Tell the whole world, the whole SPSM chat universe solar system. Who is Joelle Marie Nurse?
Hi, I'm Joelle Marie Nurse. I live in Los Angeles. I am a peer specialist. I do have lived experience with chronic suicidal thoughts. Basically, since I was a kid, I've been in and out of the mental health system, and to basically deal with those issues, I turned to supporting other people and connecting with other people, and it's really, really helped. I studied psychology in school. I work with clinicians. I speak to legislators. I develop presentations. And my big thing is working on how to support other people through times of distress in ways that work for them, and not using force, but using the tools and skills that they have. And that's my deal.
Tell the whole world, the whole SPSM chat, hashtag SPSM chat 3.0 multiverse. Who is Marie Shanley?
We are part of the multiverse, believe it or not. In an alternate universe, none of this is working right now. So we should be really grateful that everything is working the way it should be right now. Hey everyone, it's Anxiety or Marie. I am a streamer. I'm a mental health advocate and writer and a streamer on Twitch. I do interview shows like Rudy does. But mine are on Twitch. Then I'm also a writer, an advocate, as I mentioned before. I live with depression, anxiety, and ADHD. And my goal is to connect people to better understanding of mental health issues in the world, better understanding of what's going on in the world of mental health and current events, so that they are more likely to go and seek help and not feel the stigma and feel less alone and all that like good stuff that comes with good mental health advocacy. So my role is what a term I've recently coined as an edutainer, meaning I'm here for a few laughs, but the whole point is I sneakily sneak in some information in there while you're laughing so that you learn a thing or two about mental health.
And last but not least, me. Sometimes I forget myself because I'm usually interviewing other people, but like I mentioned before, especially if you're joining us just now, if you're just trying to find the live stream, the best way to always find the live stream is just to go to twitter.com/SPSMchat. It'll always be there. You don't have to download the Periscope app or anything like that. We got you taken care of. So I'm Rudy Caceres. I'm hosting SPSM Chat. I also have another Facebook Live show called No Restraints with Rudy Caceres. I also do Facebook Live interviews with the Mighty on their Burbank office. I get to interview some of the best mental health advocates, suicide prevention specialists in the entire country. And it's been always a pleasure to interview people on those shows. But this is one of the biggest opportunities so far. I've been following SPSM Chat since about 2016, and when I first started watching it, I was a little nervous to deep dive into it because you got all these people with fancy titles, and people have been doing this work for a long time using grown-up words. And who am I? I mean, I've dealt with suicidality pretty much my entire life. I've lost people to suicide. I'm very passionate about learning all I can about suicide. And here I am now, the host of SPSM Chat. So follow your dreams, kids. You never know what can happen. And here's what's happening today. I introduced the cast of characters. Now I want to hear from all of you out there in Twitter land. Ask us anything about suicide prevention, or if you want to know what my favorite type of ice cream is, by all means, go for it. You've seen the cast of players. You know what they are. If you want to learn about their backgrounds, if you want to know more about, say, Danielle's approach to therapy, or you want to know more about Twitch streaming from Marie, you want to know more about peer support specialists from Joelle, if you want to know how to sue someone, you can ask Hudson.
I resent that remark.
So let me go check the Twitter chat, see if anyone's got any. Thank God I did the auto post on Twitter, else I would just be all over the place. So
you're doing great. You're probably more nervous than you realize, but you're probably doing way better than you also realize.
Well, thank you.
You're doing
I appreciate that. And hey, Sarah Schuster, coming out of Twitter hiatus to do her favorite thing, support at Rudy Caceres, and talk about suicide. Whoever sent that super hard, thank you. I probably should have turned that off, but whatever. If you want to, actually, we will be having merchandise in the future. So there's that. Thank you at LoyLoy920-60740 for giving us imaginary money. So let's see what else we got. The gang is back. Thank you, BH90210. Oh wait, that's a that's a promoted tweet.
Oh my God.
That's Beverly Hills
Great.
90210. Hey Noreen, how are you? So hey Jess, how are you? One of my favorite people in the whole world. Hey Corbin, how are you? PhD student in the house. Hello Lena, how are you? Sibling, suicide law survivor. I appreciate all you do. Hey Youth Mental Health Canada. So while we're waiting for people to ask us questions, hey Katie Gordon, how are you? I'm going to ask you all questions, and I don't like doing too much pre-planning, so I didn't give them any heads up on the questions. So here we go. And like I said, if you're watching this on Twitter live, tweet at us, use the hashtag SPSM, and then that's the easiest way for me to see it, and we will get to you while we're streaming for the next 45 minutes. So I'm not even going to go in order. So, hey Marie, how are you doing? I want to know more about the work you do on Twitch and what have you seen as far as suicide prevention? Because anyone can really talk about suicide, but there's very few people who can talk about it in a way that actually has a positive impact. Talk about what you've seen and what you've done on that platform.
All right. Well, so the beauty of Twitch is actually kind of like what we're doing on Twitter right now, that people can comment live in the chat screen as we go. And what that does is it ensures that no matter how tough the interview is, if we're going through something really difficult, if somebody is sharing their story of suicide attempt, there is an entire chat usually supporting that person and making sure that they feel comfortable and safe and letting them know they are not alone. And that's it. Like, that's the power of Twitch. That's the power of the Twitch community. And that's the reason why I love Twitch so much and I love staying on Twitch. So the way it works is people come on live and I ask them, questions. It's very conversational. They're kind of not really interviews as much as they are discussions overall. And the idea is to have people share what it's like to live with their mental illness. And obviously sometimes that goes into suicide attempts and what it was like to survive a suicide attempt and being able, knowing that I can create a safe space for people to be able to talk about that, and then seeing other people in chat come out and say, hey, actually, I had suicidal thoughts. I didn't act on them, but I thought about that and I kind of felt really alone about it. And now it makes me feel a little bit better knowing that, like, clearly I'm not alone. And you see people trickling in and talking about there's a lot of mental health issues within the video game community. Oftentimes people use video games as emotional regulation. And so you have people coming in and saying, oh my God, this is so needed. I'm so glad that this is happening. And in that sense, in that community, you help people go through their toughest times. So at one point we had somebody come in and they were talking about how they were self-harming. And so we, as a chat, collectively sent them to the doctor. Like we didn't ask them for their location. We asked them for like an approximation. And one of my moderators sent them over information to the nearest clinic so that they can go and get themselves help. And that person then messaged me and was like, I think you saved my life. So it's pretty fantastic and a huge honor to know that you can be a part of that and you can be changing something for somebody as it's happening live. Like, it's really cool. So we stream twice a week and discussions range everywhere, but when it comes to suicide prevention, I guess to really answer your question, because I've talked about I've talked about the spectrum of mental health talks, but to really answer your question, when it comes to suicide prevention, I think the strongest weapon that Twitch can offer is being there at the right time to send people the resources that they need to go to try to prevent people from feeling alone and desperate in that moment, so that they know where to go and they feel supported and they don't feel alone and they know that they're cared for and they're important and they matter and they will be missed if something were to happen to them.
Yeah, and one of the things I really respect about you, Marie, as a Twitch streamer, like you're constantly streaming. Like, what do you do 3 times a day or 3 times a week?
3 times. Oh, jeez. I narrowed it down to 2 times a week now. This is my 3rd time a week, but yeah, it's twice a week, 3 hours at a time.
Yeah, so that's ridiculous. SPSM chat is 1 hour a week, and that already seems like a lot. And you always have guests on, or sometimes you'll talk to your viewers, which is a great thing about Twitch, is that you have this personal connection with all of your followers, and you can also play games. So there's that.
Right.
What's the most recent game that you're playing on Twitch?
So I am not much of a video game player, and this is a common stereotype, Rudy, that you're perpetuating. Not all Twitch streamers are video game gamers, but I did most recently. I've been playing Sims and trying to figure out the whole like God complex that I've created in myself over that. But yeah, so it's been Sims, and then recently in Stardew, my character had a baby, so like things are going great when it comes to video game stuff. But I try to play a lot of either life simulators or games in which we can kind of create that emotional connection and maybe learn something still, again, sneaking in that learning something about psychology while maybe being entertained and just feeling like you're watching a silly video game.
Yes, and so, look, I can put graphics on here. None of you can see it, my co-hosts, but... Yeah, go check that out. Ask us anything about suicide prevention. I'll check that in again, the Twitter feed in just a minute or so. But I highly recommend go check out twitch.tv/anxiety, MXIETY. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's anxiety with an M instead of an A.
Yeah, so go check that out. I've been a guest on it. It was...
Yeah.
It was what it was. Go check that out. You can actually see all the episodes on YouTube as well. Was it really? Okay, great. I felt like I was like all over I felt like I was talking like just about video games, which again is a cliche. Like I didn't talk about like any of my work. So that was what it is.
You were fine. I mean, like you were on for like an hour and change, so there was plenty. You ran the gambit. Don't worry.
Well, thank you. So again, let's check the Twitter feed, see if we got everything. Thanks again for the love, Noreen, Lena, Jess, Youth Mental Health Canada. Let me know if you're still having trouble, Youth Mental Health Canada, following along. Just make sure to watch this on the live stream on SPSM chat, Twitter. So Joelle Marie tweeting at the same time she's on the camera. Suicide prevention discussions. I think the strongest weapon that Twitch can offer is being there to offer resources and let people know that they are important and they matter. So I'm going to put you in the hot seat now, Joelle Marie. You talk a lot about, and we're going to talk a lot about OCD next week. So let's kind of table that discussion until next Sunday with Chrissy Hodges. But You do work in peer support specialist. You're also autistic. So talk about some of that stuff that you do.
Some of that stuff that I do. Okay, so I think I'm not in an official peer support role right now, so I think I'm really definitely focusing on the autistic point of view right now and on accessibility, and they really go hand in hand, particularly when seeking support and trying to connect and trying to get appropriate support, trying to pursue a quality of life, which, ties hand in hand with mental health, ties hand in hand with trying to survive. And I have to say that, I also have chronic health conditions, physical, and being autistic, often I feel incredibly marginalized, and that affects my mental health and my state of mind, and that does affect how severe my chronic suicidal thoughts are. So it definitely all, ties into itself, and something the autistic community has known for forever is that we are at high risk of suicide. And that's something that's just starting to be acknowledged. But for a very, very long time, it was thought that, we're not human enough to feel that. Maybe it wasn't worded that way, but that's basically how it's been perceived. We don't have intense enough emotions. We're actually not empathetic. We don't feel things. And often the reality is that we feel things very, very intensely on the inside, and it's difficult to express it on the outside. So we walk around having these intense emotions, feeling misunderstood, wanting to express these things as a human being, and then a lot of that contributes to our high risk of suicide. And so a lot of what I try to do is really bridge the misunderstandings of what it is to be autistic with people who want to support autistics, who want to give them more ways to communicate and help people understand what communication can be and is. So, and it's really important for quality of life and to reduce that potential for suicide.
Awesome. So I appreciate you being on here, and let me see, who else can I talk to? I have like this list of people, this rogues gallery of suicide prevention specialists, mental health advocates. But I'm going to go to Hudson, who's apparently the last person that I've asked the question to. Oh, actually, no, I haven't asked you, Danielle, something, right? Cool. So Hudson, you were the last guest on SPSM Chat 1.0. Why did it end after you were on it?
Oh,
that's a question that I think is really important to be addressed at some point by someone who knows the answer to that question. No, I think SPSM 1.0, 2.0. I think the show is really lending itself to this idea of almost a seasonal approach. The team that was on SPSM 1.0 built an amazing show, and they had incredible guests and people. And I think, I would like to think in the mental health field that we're better at knowing when it's time to pause. And I think that they reached a point where they were ready and felt they had accomplished everything that was there. Selfishly, I'm very glad that they did because now we are all here. And it's very exciting. So that is my answer, Rudy.
Can you get us some more super hearts and show everyone the pigs?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you get on SPSM Chat 3.0. It's not a game.
This is. Did everybody? So this is one of my antidepressants. This is Notorious P.I.G.
You do not swallow her. Let's be clear on that.
And this is his brother Scar.
So we're gonna start. We're gonna start at SPSM Chat Piggies account. Pigs of SPSM Chat.
I will just say it's the one time in life where reality exceeded expectations. You think you know how cute a little piglet is until they're like around you and they're like wanting to like nuzzle you. It's just it's almost makes me throw up. They're so cute.
Cool.
I'm never even thinking again.
So when you, I don't know if we can continue after that.
Discussions in our house now.
Cool. So when you were a guest on SPSM Chat last time, you talked about InfoSec. You talked about HIPAA, if I'm correct. Is there any updates in your views or your work with that?
Yes, actually, I would love to say there's a growing mental health movement in InfoSec and security. There's a group, I actually meant to wear the shirt, but I have children, so everything that's important gets gross, called Mental Health Hackers. I will tweet about them just as soon as I'm done talking. But it's been really great. That community has really risen up, and I think it's a lot of the same community that Anxiety talks to. people that are gaming, people that are tech heavy, people that are kind of really good at doing those types of things. And this past year, I went back to ShowMeCon, which was actually the very first conference that I ever spoke at. There it is. And the folks at Parameter and ShowMeCon gave me a chance to talk. And this past year, I went back and gave a talk on how to hack your life with human-centered design. So it's been a really fun journey with them over the past 4 or 5 years to introduce this stuff, see it blossom, and see some really amazing people take off with it.
Awesome. So I look forward to all of you and what you got to bring to the table. If you're just joining us now, this is SPSM Chat on Twitter.com/SPSM Chat. So I pinned the live feed to the top of the SPSM Chat Twitter account. So that makes it super easy to find. We're probably going to have to iron out some more kinks as we go along in the weeks to come. But my God, this is actually working, and like I'm like shocked. We did not like just completely ruin my computer or ruin the internet or ruin this account. People are actually following along, and I appreciate all of you. Again, if you have any questions for us, if you want to let us know how we can improve in future weeks, if you have ideas, suggestions for topics, guests to cover, tweet below SPSM, hashtag SPSM, DM us, the SPSM account as well. I'll try to follow everyone with the SPSM chat account, people that are following along, because I want to make sure all of you are in the conversation every Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. I really appreciate my East Coast people, my tweeters, because I know it's 9 p.m. over there, and I know you got stuff to do. You have a family to feed. You got stuff to do on Monday morning. So I appreciate all of you. Let's get to Danielle Glick. So I've known you for about a year and some change, and I probably know like the least about you, like even less than Marie, despite less like knowing each other. So where do I start? Well, first and foremost, I want to know about your approach to therapy, because you just started, and I believe you work with children, right?
Yes, children and families. So, but mostly the children, yeah. So do you want to know my approach to therapy regarding suicide or like
Let's do in
specifics?
general, like your core beliefs, your core philosophy, and then let's zero in on suicide.
I don't even know where to begin because I implement a lot of different types of therapeutic modalities. Like I pull from motivational interviewing, cognitive behavioral therapy. I do creative arts interventions with clients and whatnot because I have a lot of friends who are creative art therapists who have given me some really cool tools to use with children. I do work with a wide array. So I do have autistic clients. I do have people who are on psychotic disorder spectrums, mood disorders. So I do work with a large group of people. And up until recently, I was working in an inpatient hospital. So I was exposed to all different types of populations, if you will, like really high-end people and really low-end people, some people in between. And I don't mean to say low-end in like a tacky way. I mean low-income. I feel like that came out wrong the first time, but I kind of like to go in with a humanistic perspective. I like to look at each client and each person that I interact with as a person, not as a diagnosis, and kind of just work with what I think is going to be best for what they need, given what the problem is that they're coming to me for. And I do believe that everybody has the innate ability to change and be better and do better. And it's how do we get that out of them, and how do we get them from where they are here to where they should be. I hope that answers your question. I could talk about therapy for like 12 years.
No, and definitely I would love to do an episode where we have another therapist on as well, and we can kind of see different perspectives even. And one of the things I've noticed, especially therapists, clinicians, psychologists who work in mental health and specifically with suicide prevention, is that they are touched by it in some way. Oftentimes there is this, I guess stigma is the word, that people can't come out about their lived experience because they might lose their job, they might be discriminated against. And so there's so many people who are clinicians, therapists, psychiatrists, because they have some form of lived experience, whether as a attempt survivor, a family member, a loss survivor, what you name it. They're just not able to open up. So I want to talk about with you, Danielle, about what that experience was like for you, because you're pretty open on social media about your own background. Has there any been kind of backlash or any kind of fears before you came out?
100,000% backlash. I've had other clinicians that I know come at me and tell me that I'm oversharing. And a lot of the stuff that I've put out on Facebook, because I know you've come into a lot of my live videos, I've gotten a lot of people saying, thank you for doing that. I've had people, message me privately and say, can you do this? Because they know that I'm vocal. It took up until my boyfriend had passed away in 2014 for me to actually even talk about the fact that I had attempted suicide in any capacity that would be considered public. Not even a lot of my friends knew. Some of my own family members didn't know. And I really, really am frustrated by the fact that there is such a stigma in this industry that we're able to help suicidal people, but why can't we have gone through that ourselves? Yeah. Why is it so bad that I'm depressed? And I think it would make me more sensitive and able to work with other people with mood disorders or suicide attempt survivors. It's the whole self-disclosure thing, and I have self-disclosed to clients before when I felt it was relevant. I'm not going to sit and tell them what attempted or how my boyfriend suicided, but I will say to them, listen, I can relate because I've been through this myself in some capacity. And I think it's a BS stigma that kind of needs to be pushed away because, like you said, more than 50% of us in this field working as clinicians have been through this either ourselves, our family members, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, I was about to say our dogs, but those cure everything. So,
and pigs.
Yeah.
And pigs.
Pigs are the best. Sorry.
Cool. So thank you all. I appreciate all of you for taking my hardball questions. I promise I'll leave most of those for the guests in coming weeks. But like I said before at the beginning of this is probably it. This is probably the only time I'm ever going to have all of you on at the same time, because going forward, it's just going to be 4 of us. So me, 2 other team members, and our guest next week, who called me during this live stream. Shout out to Chrissy Hodges. We're going to be talking about OCD and suicide, and we have lots more excellent guests in the weeks to come. And I can't say enough good things about this team. You all rock in your own way. This is quite the diverse team, and I appreciate all of you. But I want to know, we're going to run the whole gamut again, and I appreciate all of you tweeting at us as well. Keep tweeting, even during the week. Just use the hashtag SPSM. If you're just joining us right now, that's totally fine. You'll be able to watch the replay not only on Twitter, but on YouTube as well, on demand, anytime. And then you can also go to SPSMchat.com, and you can go to the blog section where you'll see not only this SPSM chat with the little blog intro, but also the video as well on YouTube, and you'll be able to see all other episodes as well. So it's just this treasure trove going back a few years. So go check that out, spsmchat.com, and if you haven't already, follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/SPSM chat. We're also on Facebook, and I'll also be doing more content on Facebook as well. So be on the lookout. Hey, you never know. We might end up doing a Twitch stream in the future. So,
oh yeah, you are.
Yeah. So watch out for that. Anything is going to happen, and that's what I love about this new platform, SPSM Chat, is that all bets are off. This is a new era. So let's run the gamut. And I'm going to first call on Danielle again, because she wasn't expecting it. What do you hope to get out of this experience? What do you want SPSM Chat to be? What are your aspirations, your goals?
Well, I followed it for the past couple of years, and I like how it's continued to evolve. I like that there's so many different perspectives and so many things that I feel like just in this little conversation we've been having for the past, half hour, there's been topics that have come up that I haven't seen in the past. So I think that, whether it's from just the group of us or the people that we bring on to talk to, it's just, I would just like to continue to see it evolve and talk about how suicide and mental health impact different walks of life that weren't necessarily something that people would consider. Everyone looks at, like, for example, like what I do for a living, they're like, oh yeah, so you deal with suicide all the time. But guess what? It's in corporate, it's in, like, it's everywhere. And so I just like to see the dialogue just continue and grow. And yeah, that's my answer. I'm sticking to it. Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm going to call on Joelle next because we actually got our first question, dadgummit. Stop Texas Suicides ask, hey, at SPSM chat, I have a question. Who has the best resources for 411 on hashtag autism and hashtag suicide prevention? Any links?
Oh, off the top of my head, right now, no. But I can commit to posting some right after this on my feed. Yes. So AAS does have a crisis toolkit. If you are looking for something for a crisis line, they have a toolkit that I can post the link to after this chat. If you are looking for supporting family members, if you're looking for personal resources, I don't have that like right off the top of my head. I do have bookmarks, things like that, and I can definitely post those right after we talk. I do think that we are lacking in general in terms of, publicized, like well-respected, curated information and resources on how to support autistics, because it's definitely like in crisis, because it definitely requires a different perspective and different supports in terms of things like telling an autistic to calm down isn't always great because they need to be able to express and stim and get that energy out, because trying to suppress it is even more distressing. But I can definitely get those links up afterward and commit to doing that before I go to bed tonight.
Awesome. Is there anything you want to else get out about SPSM chat? Anything you want to change? Anything you want to improve upon?
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh, not right now, I think. I think I'm just like excited to be a part of it, because part of my big thing is definitely bridging perspectives and knowledge. And, I think, like Danielle said, it's everywhere. Suicide and crisis and distress is everywhere. Everyone experiences it or has been touched by it in some way, even if they don't quite realize it or label it as such. My experiences when I was working full-time as a peer support specialist, I would, get in an Uber and tell people what I do, and suddenly they would open up and they would tell me an experience because they felt comfortable talking to it, and everyone had one. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just really important to share perspective, share experience, and get the information out there.
Can I say something?
Yes, you may, Hudson.
I add that if somebody says they don't have experience with it, they're lying. Everybody knows someone. You have 1 degree. This is 1 degree of you. Everyone you know has experience with mental illness, with substance abuse, with suicide. We're all in it together.
Yep. Awesome.
True.
And before I continue, I want to make sure we got to Sarah Schuster's question. She says she'd love to know which facet of suicide prevention each of the hosts are most excited to talk about. And I think this is kind of in line with the question I already asked. So I want to continue with Hudson. And if anyone wants to jump back into that afterwards, I'd love to get your input. So Hudson.
Yes. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is how we start to build cross-sector partnerships. That's kind of my big thing. When I give talks at conferences big and small, from security to business to software, it's how do we start to bring those other industries and those other people into the whole, because it's everywhere. And then how do we use those different types of partnerships to innovate? Doc April Foreman, told me that, technology-enabled mental health Technology-enabled mental health innovation is the fourth wave. And that's where we're going to start to take all this information, take all this data, take all this technology, and start to put it to the problems that matter and that are affecting us. And I think that's what I'm really excited about, and that's what really got me passionate about suicide prevention was the new frontier in technology and new partnerships where they haven't been before.
Awesome. And before I forget, I want to make sure to do some more house cleaning items. Is that there's often confusion that SPSM Chat is a offshoot of the American Association of Suicidology or other projects. SPSM Chat is completely independent, and I'm excited, again, can't say it enough times, to lead SPSM Chat, all of us, into the future. And also, it goes without saying, I did put the tweet out in the beginning of this chat, is that all of our views are our own and don't necessarily, or especially, don't reflect those of our jobs, our organizations, or even our families. So, get that out of the way. And if you're having still troubles, anyone following along, I will try to kind of navigate in the future ways to improve. That's why I said as well, if you have any suggestions to how to improve. But we had a question from Youth Mental Health Canada who want to know if we're going to have like more structured questions for the tweeters. And we will have that in the future, starting next week with Chrissy Hodges. So there will be 3 main questions related to OCD and suicide and any other topic that we'll have in the following weeks. So that way, if you're not able to watch the live stream, you'll still be able to participate in the Twitter chat, the old school OG Twitter chat, one of the best Twitter chats going today. So I think we're all caught up with comments and questions from the gallery. Jess is bringing the fire with all of her tweets as well. Go check out her Mad in America article about safe messaging because it's very important, constantly rabble-rousing. I appreciate you, Jess, constantly moving the conversation forward, constantly saying the things that I often wish I had said, and I don't often say that about anything. So go check out Jess Stolman-Rainey's Mad in America piece. I just retweeted it from the SPSM chat account, and I'll probably just tweet it out again later on as well. So make sure, go check that out as well. Stop Texas Suicides. Again, bringing the fire. Hey, Stop Texas Suicides. If you have a house that you want to put me in for like a weekend, I will totally come down there and we will hang out as well. So thanks for quote tweeting us as well. I appreciate you. Stop Texas Suicides. Again, can't say enough good things about them for kind of distilling a lot of stuff that we're saying. I'm just reading about what you had to say about Hudson's statements as well. So thank you. That really matters because I'm just one man and it's just really hard to interview people, monitor everything going on my computer, and tweeting at the same time. So you all out there, you are the real MVPs. So I just sent out a tweet on the SPSM Twitter account. What do you want us to discuss future episodes of hashtag SPSM? Let's see if I can put this on the screen.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's pretty. Look at that.
Are you able to see that?
Yeah.
I can't see it.
That's
well,
crazy.
on Periscope.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So again,
who picked the pointer though?
Oh, that was me.
It's like
that was
the casual guy after work and happy hours. Like, you want to be here?
Well, see, the thing is that SPSM Chat has always had like a kitschy attitude towards social media and graphics. So I felt that was very on brand. I was gonna pick something super more professional looking. I actually had some kind of graphic design skills. But you know what? Screw it. There's some things about SPSM Chat that can never change. So, Marie, who's laughing right now, I'm going to call on you now. So, I don't know how long you've been following SPSM Chat. So, talk about what have your impressions been, and what do you hope to change? What do you hope to bring to the table? And what do you want to talk about in future weeks? Because we can't just talk about Twitch all the time.
We can't? What do you mean? Okay. So in terms of SPSM, first of all, I'm incredibly honored to be amongst these people. Definitely having a little bit of an imposter syndrome, just looking around this circle. So it's really, really cool to be included. In terms of what I hope to bring to the table, what I hope we can bring to other people is So as an advocate, my job has always been to bridge the gap between professionals and those seeking help, or kind of the layman looking for information. And if that's what we can do for suicide prevention, if we can put the tools in people's hands to know where to point people when somebody is experiencing a crisis, what to do when you yourself are experiencing, are going through suicidal ideation and don't know where to turn to. If we could bring those tools to people, if we could create a space where, obviously where people feel safe talking about it. I see a lot of professionals here are tweeting at us, but if we can get more and more people just getting comfortable with the idea of talking about suicide, like that would be incredible. That would be amazing. That's definitely something that's a dream. And if we can do that while bridging the gap with professionals, as we bring on guests on to interview, I think it's going to be super important to again create a welcoming environment showing, hey, here's a professional, here's how they talk about suicide. This is what it's like if you come to a professional and you're experiencing suicidal thoughts. It's not this like scary unknown thing. Everything is by protocol, everything is known. And then, the professionals also need support. So I know there's been quite a bit of just like kind of chatter overall in the social media sphere about supporting professionals who may have had clients who ended their lives. And so providing as many resources to as many people as possible. And I think we're just doing that by holding this discussion, by opening up the floor for everybody to feel like they have a space within this hour to talk about this thing that is normally, quite a few of our speakers have mentioned it's rather taboo. So yeah, well, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I think that's everything.
No, that's awesome. And trust me, like, you want to talk about imposter syndrome, like me being the host of SPSM chat, like after just like I've been so intimidated to even like participate in most weeks. And when I do, like I feel like I'm just like pulling stuff out of my ass. So like I'm glad that I'm given this opportunity. Thank you so much, Doc April Foreman, who I'd love to have on here again sometime in the future. I love her, and for her to give me this opportunity is just big. She was like the first person in suicide prevention that like really said like you should be a part of us. You should go to this conference. You should go check out SPSM chat. And I did, and I felt like I was part of the family. And I can't thank her enough. But I still feel like an imposter at times. I feel like I'm going to be the one who kills SPSM chat. But,
oh my God.
But no, we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep chugging along, and we're gonna keep having new conversations and keep things moving forward. And that's what I want to get out of SPSM chat going forward. I want to be someone who is a leader in changing the way for the better, improving upon the way that we talk about suicide and suicide prevention, where it's not just this thing that needs to be medicalized, that needs to just be for clinicians or the quote-unquote grown-ups to talk about in the room. Suicide prevention, suicide in general, is everyone's business, and everyone should be able to voice their opinions, concerns, what have you, about the issue. Okay? Just because you don't have letters at the end of your name doesn't, just because like you didn't have like some like larger than life, like worthy of a movie, like suicide attempt or anything like that, doesn't matter. That doesn't mean your story is not worth sharing. Just because you're not a quote unquote good survivor, took that term from Jess, that doesn't mean your story is not worth sharing. Doesn't mean that you can't be an advocate. Doesn't mean that you can't have lived expertise. So I can't stress that enough. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a clinician. I don't even have an associate's degree, okay? I often feel like I have no grounding to stand on, but here I am. So hosting SPSM Chat 3.0 with some of the most amazing people in the whole world. Daniel Ogalik, Hudson Harris, Joelle Marie Nurse, Marie Shanley, a.k.a. Anxiety. This is, as like sappy as it sounds, this is kind of a dream come true because I get to talk to some awesome people, and I get to talk to all of you out there in Twitter about stuff that I'm passionate about, with people that actually are passionate about it in the same way that I am. People who challenge me, people who support me, who affirm me, make me feel like I'm doing the right thing. So without turning this into one big mush fest, thank you all. I appreciate all you watching out here. We have just about 7 minutes, so usually this is around the time where we get into final thoughts. And it is a tradition that will always be the same. It's something that I do similarly on my own show, No Restraints, with Rudy Caceres. Go to norestraints.net to check that out as well, and as well as my work.
Shameless plug.
We're all volunteers here, so any way we can, like,
amazing. Are you
anytime we
kidding?
can maximize ways to self-promote, then go for it, okay? Because, like, we're taking time out of our lives. If, in my case, and Joelle's case, we're, like, melting in our apartment because we have to turn the AC down. So, final thoughts. Let's go with Joelle. Final thoughts, SPSM chat. Episode 1, SPSM chat 3.0, episode 1. What are your final thoughts?
I guess my final thoughts are ultimately, no matter what I am super focusing on in the topic of suicide prevention, suicide support, it comes down to supporting people in who they are, assisting them in communicating their needs and honoring communication of those needs. So no matter what it is, whether it's OCD, whether it's autism, whether it's access, whether it's agency, it's always about communication, honoring communication, how people communicate, and honoring what they are communicating. And that's always going to be important and going to be the bottom line.
All right. Thank you so much, Joelle. Coming all the way from my bedroom, Marie Shanley. Final thoughts, final words. I'll let you have it. For yourself, not for the whole SPSM chat.
Yeah, I'm not the one in his bedroom. I just want to make that very clear.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was like a road trip that I wasn't invited on, or like.
You're invited anytime, Hudson, to my bedroom.
Bring the piglets.
I'm gonna bring 2 piglets.
With the piglets and the puppy.
Sorry, guys.
Let's go, Marie.
All right. So my final thoughts are, Rudy, if you were not meant to be here, you would not be here. I believe I've watched No Restraints, and it is absolutely mind-blowingly phenomenal. And I appreciate all of the guests that you've been able to bring on, and the caliber of guests and the conversations that you've been able to have with them that they may have never had otherwise. So to that little imposter inside of Rudy's head, shut up. But to everybody else, and kind of final thoughts here. I mean, we are our best. We are our own experts, kind of what Rudy was saying as well. We are our own experts in our own story. And in the same way, we can only be as effective as you guys help us be. So anything that you guys can do to participate, to whether it's retweeting, whether it is asking your questions, whether it is just liking a post and sending us those super hearts, whatever it is that you're doing, first of all, it's appreciated, and second of all, it's that's what makes the show. So I hope to see a lot of people hanging out with us and really opening up the discussion so that it's as all right, I'm as open as it can be, opening the discussion so that it's open, you guys.
Well, thank you, Marie. I really appreciate you, and I'm excited for all of this SPSM chat audience to learn more about your work, because I've been one of your biggest fans for so long. I subscribe to your Twitch account as well through Amazon Prime, which if you have an Amazon Prime account, and whether or not you use Twitch, go check that out. Subscribe to twitch.tv/mxiety. And I still have a little graphic out there on the screen, so go check that out. Make sure to follow everyone on here. Hudson Harris, let's put your little graphic on here as well now.
I have a graphic?
You have a graphic. I think I deleted it, though. No, you do not have a graphic anymore. I took away the graphic. I took your graphic away. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I just want to say how thankful I am to be here, and I feel you on the imposter syndrome, everyone, not just the 4 of you, but also everyone out there who's listening. I also just want to say that you are not alone. No matter how alone you feel, there's always someone who's there to listen. We all have been there. We've all been down, and we've all been there, so you're not alone. I also want to say recovery is nonlinear. Be gentle on yourselves. Things are always going to be tough, and they're going to go up and down in different ways. And then the last thing I'll leave you with is A little piggy who wants to say goodnight. One of my little mental health hacks is almost every night before bed I go cruise Reddit or iBleach, and it has a really good way of just kind of making things feel a little bit better.
Okay, whose turn is it? Whose turn is it? Danielle? Let's go with Danielle. There we go. Did you get final thoughts yet?
Yeah. How am I supposed to follow everything that came out of their mouths? Because they're all brilliant and beautiful, and they said everything that I pretty much could have thought to say myself. Maybe I could add that one thing that I'd like to see, going with the communication is I know I'm a strong support of men with mental health, and I would like to see more men speak up while we're doing this, talking about their own suicidal thoughts, their own issues with mental health. There's such a stigma, and I think it's because of this, idea of the way masculinity is supposed to be. Men are more prone to suicide than women. We're easier to, kind of deal with it, where they follow through with it. And my heart is with everybody when it comes to this stuff, but I just really hope that a lot more men feel more comfortable talking about this stuff with us. And that we're able to provide people, who tune in, who don't necessarily understand suicide to the degree that any of us do, or any of our, watching people. I can't English anymore. I've been coughing too much. But I just hope that we can educate and like you all said, keep the conversation going, help people learn how to communicate what they're feeling. And thank you for having me as a part of this.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Corbin J. Stanley says, where do I sign the petition to formally recognize Notorious PIG and SCAR as the official #SPSM mascots? I think we're just going to have to create an SPSM, Pigs of SPSM Twitter account, and that's just where you can go check all that. We'll make Hudson do that, though. So I believe Joelle Marie is the last person to do final thoughts. Is that correct?
No, I did
Choose
that.
first.
Okay. All right. Okay. We've done everyone. Are we done?
Did you do them?
I hope I'm not missing anyone.
Yourself?
Oh, no. Oh, well, here's the thing. I think I said all I needed to say, and it's 7:01 already, so I'm going to let everyone go. I'm going to do something cool that I'm probably never going to be able to do again that may, in fact, just break this entire stream. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do this Brady Bunch style, and we're going to all wave to everyone at the end. So I'm going to try to put everyone on the screen, all 5 of us. There's Danielle, there's Hudson, there's Joelle, and there is Marie. All 5 of us are on screen. Wave everyone goodbye. Thank you so much. My God, we did it. Thank you to Danielle. Thank you to Hudson. Thank you to Joelle. Thank you to Marie. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. You made SPSM Chat 3.0, the launch, the beginning of a new era, a success. We did not die. We did not melt. We did not explode Twitter. Until next week. By then, I will have developed a catchphrase to sign off with. Any suggestions for Hudson? What should be our sign off?
Keep your piggies close.
Oh,
Keep your piggies close.
You are not alone. I don't know. I know that's borrowed, but still, it could work for the first round.
Keep your piggies close.